Jonathan Kuminga's restricted free agency remains one of the league's biggest unanswered questions of the offseason. In a deep dive published on ESPN.com this morning, our Charania and Anthony Slater break down how and why this Warriors contract standoff is still unresolved here in mid-September. And we're now joined by Shams. Shams, where does this situation stand right now between Kuminga and the Warriors?
George, the Warriors have shown more effort, increased urgency to figure out a solution here, even to the point Joe Lacob, the Warriors owner, went out and sat face-to-face with Jonathan Kuminga in the last month. And Joe Lacob essentially asked Kuminga, do you want to be here? Do you want to be with the Warriors? And Kuminga flipped that really and said, do you even want me? And how the Warriors have showed whether they want him or not. They've structured two trade-friendly contracts. We know about the 2-year, $45 million offer, standing offer that's been there since July. It includes a team option, but he's been declining that. And so over the last week, I'm told the Warriors offered 3 years, $75 million. That also includes a team option, which to this point, Kuminga has resisted. And so will the 2-year framework, if Kuminga wants a shorter-term deal, will they be able to improve that 2-year deal? Will it get to a point where Kuminga takes it? I spoke to a source this morning that said this is essentially a situation where both sides know that likely the best case scenario is a divorce eventually. But in the short term, it might be best for both sides to stay together for the kids, and the kids being a betterment for the team, allowing both sides to get an opportunity to see, can we figure this out? Can this work at least this upcoming season? And if not, it's a tradable contract that they can trade, and eventually he hits unrestricted free agency next offseason.
All right, well, let me ask you this. How much of this stalemate threatens the Warriors' ability to maximize Steph Curry here in his final years of contention?
The Warriors need to get Jonathan Kuminga on a trade-friendly contract, a deal that also is a higher number than, obviously, the qualifying offer. Because if Jonathan Kuminga goes and signs that qualifying offer, 1 year, $8 million, that has a no-trade clause built in, that significantly impacts how this team, the Warriors, can build moving forward. It cripples their ability in a lot of ways to move forward with team building. You have a number 7 overall pick that you risk losing for nothing if he signs the qualifying offer. And to that end, the Warriors have had 2 aggressive suitors in Kuminga. That's the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings. The Kings have been offering a deal somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 years, $63 to $66 million. And their deal has been around Malik Monk and a first-round pick. The Suns, on the other hand, it's been around 4 years, approaching $90 million. That's been Royce O'Neal and second-round draft compensation. Both these teams want Kuminga to come in, start, give him a player option, play significant minutes. The Warriors, of course, reluctant to just guarantee him all of that. And so far, they've been declining all of these trades as well. So as it's been for 3 months, George, it's about who's going to blink first, the Warriors or Jonathan Kuminga. We're going to find out within the next 2 weeks.
How have the Warriors handled this Kuminga situation, in your opinion?
Awkwardly. I mean, how have they handled Kuminga's entire career? Steve Kerr doesn't want Kuminga. Kuminga doesn't want to play for the Warriors, in part because he knows the coach doesn't want him. Listen, Shams is talking about there's going to be a divorce eventually. Let's stay together for the kids. I've lived that. I lived with my ex-wife for a year after we were in a divorce for the kids. Let me tell you, it was not fun. There are going to be chemistry issues.
Yeah.
To put it mildly. This is going to be a disaster if they bring back Kuminga. There's SGA. He might as well be HTE, human trade exception. And he's going to be, you think he's going to want to pass the ball? You think he's going to want to play team ball? He's going to want the ball. He's going to want minutes. Steve Kerr doesn't think he fits. I wonder what they think they can get that's better than Malik Monk and a first-round pick.
Tim, were you offered $48 million to stay in that marriage next year? I mean,
no, but it was a financial decision.
Listen to me. There was some big news in this report that Shams and Anthony Slater put out.
Yeah.
Is that the Warriors had increased their offer to 3 years and 77. It's basically $25 million.
But the player option is what he objects to.
Still, in that third year, that's
option,
$48 million guaranteed compared to 8. Right. So when we've been talking about this all summer long, it's been $8 million qualifying offer or basically $24 million a year. So That's a lot less, okay? 24, it doubled. That's $48 million in guaranteed money that he is willing to leave on the table. Forget about the third year. I know that's a big deal, but that's the same average annual value that Josh Giddey just got in Chicago. I understand that kind of stinks, but $48 million in guaranteed money is not something to walk away from when you're a young player. And I understand how awkward it is.
Absolutely miserable.
Right, and
which he clearly is.
Yeah.
Which he and I look, I know the locker room fits are awkward, et cetera, but that's why Steve Kerr gets paid a lot of money too, and that's why the veterans on this team get paid a lot of money. And I think the Warriors' stance has always been they don't want to lose him for nothing. Understandably, but they did have chances over the years. Alex Caruso was a guy they could have gone and got. Obviously, that would have helped them in the last couple of years. But to me, the fact that the Warriors have increased their offer, they've given another year of guaranteed money, that's big.
All right, David, what do you think?
Well, first of all, isn't it kind of poetic that this is the final chapter of the two-timeline fiasco of the Golden State Warriors that they tried 5 years ago, essentially? It was never going to work, and now you have a guy who was part of that two-timeline thing, who was really holding up your offseason and can be a real disaster for your season going forward. Look, there's just absolutely no way that Jonathan Kuminga could be a part of that locker room when this season starts. This is a mess of the Warriors making, of a little bit of that Kuminga fault, and this divorce needs to happen pretty much now, because you do not have I get the Warriors. I understand what the Warriors always want to maximize trade value and don't want to lose this guy for nothing, but you're not losing him for nothing. Moving on from Kuminga allows you, as the Golden State Warriors, to move on with your offseason. You can go and put Al Horford on the team. You can get Melton onto that team, and you do not have to worry about a guy on your roster, in your locker room, who your coach doesn't want there, who doesn't want to be there himself. And it's a toxic situation. It's best for all parties to move on. I know there are financial issues and all that, but if the Warriors want to truly maximize these last few years of the Stephen Curry era, the first step of that is moving on from Kuminga, cutting your losses, and figuring out what's next.
I also think there is something about getting in the room. And I know the Warriors had been very frustrated throughout the process that they had not talked to Jonathan Kuminga directly. All the communication was going through his agent, whereas other teams like the Kings and the Suns had talked to Jonathan Kuminga personally. And so that was the fact that they got in a room together, that the owner and the general manager, Mike Dunleavy Jr., got in a room and were able to talk to him face to face, I think does help move this thing forward and towards some kind of resolution. Because, David, I'm the opposite. I think he is on the roster when they start the year.
We'll see. This thing is going to be fascinating.
He's been in the room. He's been on the bench. He's been in the locker room. That's been part of the problem. He's been racking up DNPs all last year to the point where this relationship has just gotten so toxic. I just don't see how it even begins to work out.
At 7, working against Butler, got downhill, couldn't punch it. Bam says, get it out of here. Adebayo, sky high with the block and rejection. That's why he's NBA All-Defensive Team.
All right, today is the anniversary of that insane Bam block in the Eastern Conference Finals back in the bubble. So that got us thinking about going back in the time machine. Our top 5 most absurd blocks. Here we go. Number 5, Ja tracks down Avery Bradley.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
In 2022, snagged it off the backboard.
He had kept it in play and started the break.
Yep. Crazy.
Come on. That was crazy.
Unbelievable. Number 4, we go way back. LaFonso Ellis with the snatch and block and then the stare down of Brian Davis back in 1993.
That's so good.
Hey, I like how he found the camera, too. That is well-rounded.
Job, Fonz. Number 3, we were in the building for this, NBA Finals 2013. Thiago Splitter, meet King James.
Man, Thiago Splitter had a good career, but this is the only play anybody remembers.
He did have a good career, but that is what people remember. There's no doubt about that. Great block there by Bron. Number 2, Shaq in 1996, blocking Rex Chapman.
Oh, poor Rex. Come on.
He short-circuited the broadcast.
Listen, he can get bald-headed Rex Chapman like that. Young Rex Chapman that would have maybe had
That's right. Shaq used to break so many baskets. They had to have a spare in the back.
And number 1, 2 seasons ago, Ant Edwards saves the day in Indy. Oh, wow.
Oh, that was so good.
Hits his head on the rim.
And also, the fall is kind of scary, too. Goodness.
The ankle.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. up and down. Crowded where I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA, ESPN.